first week of college was supposed to feel exciting. A fresh start, a chance to meet new people, to live on my own for the first time. Instead, it became one of the strangest and most unsettling experiences of my life. I had just moved into my dorm. My parents had carried the last of my boxes up the stairs, hugged me goodbye, and left me standing in a room that felt both foreign and suffocatingly empty. I unpacked slowly, trying to make the space feel like my own. Posters on the wall, books stacked neatly, clothes folded into drawers. By the time I finished, the place felt almost livable. I remember sitting on the edge of my bed, wondering what kind of person my roommate would be. I hoped for someone outgoing, maybe a potential friend for the next 4 years. At the very least, someone normal. When the door finally creaked open later that evening, my heart jumped a little. He walked in, tall, lanky, shoulders slouched like he was trying to fold into himself. His hair hung limp, his eyes darting around the room as if the furniture might suddenly spring to life and attack him. I stood, smiling, trying to make a good first impression. "Hey, I'm Dan," I said, sticking out my hand. He looked at it, stared at it for too long, as though confused by what it meant. Then, with a twitch of his lips, he laughed, a short, awkward sound, and gave me the weakest handshake I'd ever received. Cold, limp fingers. Dale," he muttered. Already, the air between us felt heavy. I asked him a few questions. Where he was from, what he planned to study, if he had checked out the campus yet. His answers were clipped. Yes, no, I don't know. Sometimes he laughed nervously. Sometimes he just stared. Within minutes, conversation had died. We sat on opposite beds, both on our laptops, the silence pressing in around us. I thought, great, I'm stuck with this guy all year. But awkwardness was only the beginning. That night, after exploring campus and meeting a few people from my floor, I came back to find Dale in the exact same position I'd left him. Laptop open, face glowing pale in the screen light, fingers motionless. "What's up, Dale?" I asked, trying again. He didn't answer. I shrugged it off, turned out my lamp, and tried to sleep. But hours later, I stirred awake. Something was wrong. The blinds were open. Pale moonlight seeped into the room, outlining everything in a dim, cold silver. My eyes adjusted, and that's when I saw him. Dale, sitting on the edge of his bed, facing me, watching. My chest tightened. I sat up quickly, heart hammering. "Dale, what the hell are you doing?" His face twitched. His voice came out a whisper. "Sorry." Then he lay back down as if nothing had happened. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, he was gone. For a moment, I felt relief, like maybe he wasn't the kind of guy to spend every waking second indoors. But later, during orientation, I spotted him again. We were walking as a group past the gardens when a couple students ahead of me whispered, "What's that kid doing?" I followed their gaze. There was Dale, sitting in the dirt behind a bush, hunched over, one hand rubbing against the bark of a tree over and over, like he was trying to memorize its texture. His clothes were dirty, his eyes unfocused, his lips curved into a faint smile. I looked away quickly. My new acquaintances apologized when I admitted he was my roommate. They didn't know whether to laugh or pity me. That night, when I returned to the dorm, he was sitting in the desk chair, directly facing the door, waiting. "Oh, hey," I said, forcing a smile. "Nothing," he answered, like I had asked him a question. When I turned on my laptop, I noticed something strange. Emails opened, folders moved, things I hadn't touched yet. My stomach dropped. I asked casually, "Dale, did you go through my computer?" He snapped, "No!" His voice was too loud, too fast, as if he had prepared the denial before I even finished the question. Later, as I dug through my bag for pajamas, I realized my clothes were shuffled around too. Something wasn't right. And then came the zipper sound. I opened my eyes to see Dale crouched on the floor, going through my bag. This time, I flicked on the lamp. "What are you doing?" He froze. "I think you took my toothbrush." It was the closest thing to wit he'd shown since I met him. But I knew he was lying. I stayed awake until morning, planning to leave for good. I did switch rooms. My new roommate wasn't exactly a social butterfly, but compared to Dale, he was a blessing. For the first 2 nights, everything felt fine. But on the third, I woke to a sound. A faint, irregular click, click, click. It was coming from the door. I crept up and peered through the peephole. There, in the dim glow of the hallway light, was the top of someone's head. They were looking down, hands fidgeting with the doorknob. The clicking was the sound of metal shifting. They were trying to get in. I backed away, grabbed my phone, and dialed campus police. Minutes later, blue uniforms filled the hallway. When I finally opened the door, they had him in cuffs. Dale. I told them everything. The stalking, the snooping, the nights he spent watching me sleep. They led him away. And just like that, he was gone. I never saw him again. Maybe he was expelled, maybe suspended. I didn't care. But sometimes, even now, I wake up in the middle of the night, half expecting to see him, sitting there, watching.